One. Obviously, there's a 20-second delay. All right, Joe. It's the show we all been waiting for. We got the reunion with Mark. We got Pete Mason, Dion McGill, Willdband. We're going to talk all things Deadpool and Wolverine. If you have not seen the movie, you shouldn't be here. If you have, great. And if you haven't seen it and you want to be here anyway, that's fine. We're just going to spoil it. Joe, give me that countdown.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Get over here! Hi, I'm martial art master Daniel Casino. You know me as the original Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, and Smoke. You are tuning in to NerdCage Live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Don't miss an episode or you'll get caged. So let's finish him.
This is Anthony Marquez, better known as Kung Lao for Mortal Kombat. Make sure to like and subscribe to NerdCage Live. Be there. Us.
Hey everybody, this is Dave Niebor from Dog Eat Dog, and you're watching NerdCage Live. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel. These are great guys doing what they love to do.
NerdCage Live and gaming are a perfect match.
Shoot the J, Joe.
Okay.
Shoot it!
All right.
Over on NerdCage Live on Twitch, Jay and Joe go live.
Call me Bazooka Joe.
It's all about you.
Kaboom!
Playing both old school and new school games every Tuesday night. Ooh, what a sight!
Jay, stop looking at her face and run.
But she's so beautiful.
So be sure to follow NerdCage Live on Twitch.
Run for your life, Joe. Run for your life, Joe.
Running.
Run faster. Oh no, Joe. The galaxy's doomed because of you.
To scratch your gaming itch.
Oh, nice kick, Joe.
Thank you.
About
Yo, that's f***ing diabolical.
humanity.
Wait. Yo!
That's twitch.tv/NerdCage Live.
Hi, I'm Leah Montalongo, the OG Sindel. Please like, subscribe to NerdCage Live.
This is Ernie C. from Body Count. You're tuned into NerdCage. Can you like and subscribe?
Hey guys, it's the original Shao Kahn, Brian Glenn, and I'd like you to subscribe to NerdCage Live.
It has begun.
If what you say is true, the Shaolin
And the NerdCage.
could be dangerous.
Greetings, citizens. You're now trapped in a NerdCage. We hope you have a smashing good time.
You're now about to witness the strength of geek knowledge. Hello, welcome. That's right. Once again, you are trapped in NerdCage Live. This channel is a celebration of all things pop culture, including Wolverine, Deadpool, the X-Men, and the MCU. So if you are new to the channel, please do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share with everybody you know. We are at 3,333 subscribers. So Joe, that means we're 1/3 there to 10,000. We can get there. But we want to get to 4,000 by Christmas.
Not 10,000, but I'm optimistic. It's NerdCage in 4K.
Yes. I'm your co-host, Jay St. G, certified geek 7 days a week, coming to you live from yours truly, the land of the orange, the land of Earth Crisis, the land of Anthrax, the land of Tom Cruise of Syracuse, New York. And of course, y'all just seen him. It's our moderator intro hammer, stronger than a DK banana sandwich. You can't stop it, you can't crop it, you can't top it. Like a B-52 bomber, Oppenheimer, he's gonna drop it. Born from the atomic seed in the titanium room. He's the NerdCage Live Gaming Prophet, known as Joe of FallenOne Gaming. And of course, the strong man from the land of the sand. We got Willdband. Whoops, I actually got the wrong screen up. We got Pete Mason from NewYorkStateMusic.com. And of course, you just seen him a second ago, Dion McGill. Again, I got my screens backwards. I apologize. And of course, it's a reunion show. You know him. He's the co-founder of NerdCage Live. He is the host of the Collect or Reject podcast. He's the warrior from Wakanda, the fiend from Louisville. My man, Marq Withers. So glad to have you back. How you doing?
Hey man, it's good to be back. Long time no see, guys. I am super excited to be here. Cindy hates when I say that. My wife hates when I say that. But I really am super excited because we have here the original NerdCage Assemble crew here to talk about this movie. The only person missing, may he rest in peace, is our man, Pest the Analyst. He would have loved this movie. I cannot wait to get into this. Let's get started.
Yes. You know what? Very well said. I was actually thinking about that too, Mark. Like, I was thinking the whole time, like, man, I wish Pest was here because Mark, you remember some of our, off-air conversations we had with Pest. He kept spilling his ideas he had for Deadpool 3, and I kept thinking, right, damn, it would have been great to have him here.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. So here's what we're gonna do. There's lots to talk about tonight. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around in a circle, give our general thoughts, and let everybody plug what they want to plug in. So we'll go around the world. We'll start with Willdband. So hold on. You know what? I'm gonna fix something right now here. Easy fix. There. Boom. Okay. Hold on. There's still a delay. Perfect. Okay. So Willdband, go ahead, man. You're one of our regulars, but go ahead, give your general thoughts and plug whatever you want to plug, man.
All right, well, it's always good to be back here with the NerdCage Live crew. It's always good to be working with Marq Withers as usual. Always great to work with Dion McGill as usual. And Pete, I believe we have met before, like once or twice, but always a pleasure to work with you, sir.
It was Wakanda Forever.
Oh, yes, that's right. Okay, so you can find me here on my channel, Willdband. I've been doing my reaction series with my co-reactor Brian, working our way through Spectacular Spider-Man. We are about 5 episodes deep, with episode 6 dropping this Friday. We currently have our podcasts out, Petty Cash Podcast, 2 seasons worth of episodes, and there may or may not be another podcast in the works coming this fall with my future wife, so stay tuned to that. Follow me on Twitter at Willdband, on Instagram at Willdband as well, and on TikTok at Willdband24 for smaller reviews and little fun skits I do there.
Excellent. And the man from the Windy City, the land of the deep dish, the Off the Beaten podcast, Dion McGill. Woo-hoo. How's everything going?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Let's not talk. No. Doing great, man. I'm so excited to be back. I know, Jay, we had talked about previously different instances when I would come back and hang out. Like, my calendar is crazy. For those who don't know, I was elected to public office. That's killing my soul, but I'm fighting a fight, and I'm fighting a good fight, so I'm keeping that up. But I'm so glad I was able to join today, because all day I was looking at my calendar. I'm like, no one's popping up. we're good. And so, thanks, man. But things are going good. I can't complain. Yeah, I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited. You know, it's always great to be with you guys and hear your perspectives and views. Like, I'm like the novice here. I'm just like, oh, it's a good movie. And then, like, you know, I want to hear what you guys think about it. So that is great. Other than that, just the one thing I will say, Off the Beaten podcast has been gone forever. Hopefully, the goal, so you guys can all like harass me, coming back September 10th, which is my birthday.
Let's go.
So the focus of Off the Beaten podcast has always been Chicago. I'm taking the borders away. It's just going to be interesting people, interesting shit, and so that's going to be it. And I'm super excited about that because that's what I love. You know, just talking to cool people about cool shit, and wherever they may be, that's what I'm trying to get to. So yeah, that's it. That's the dude.
You still gotta get that Wiener Circle woman on.
Oh my god. Oh my. Okay. So quick. Recently, I had the poet laureate of Coconut Creek, Florida, blonde hair, blue eyes, super nice lady, here visiting Chicago. Took her and her best friend, 5'11", blonde, blue eyes. Took them to the Wiener Circle. Oh my God. First words, what you hoes want? I was like, Chicago for the win. So yes, that's and awesome. Yes, I gotta get the Wiener Circle lady on for sure. So yes.
I'm sorry. Let's go back to Willdband real quick. Your general thoughts, real quick, of the movie. Don't give a rating of the general thoughts of the movie.
Right. I had a lot of. No worries. I totally forgot about that. I had a lot of fun with this movie. This, for me, funniest Deadpool movie so far. Definitely funniest MCU movie of the last few movies. And I overall had a lot of fun. I would definitely go see this again before owning it on 4K later this year.
And back to Dion. Your quick thoughts on the movie.
Oh my God. I saw it Sunday. I just saw it yesterday. I saw it yesterday morning. I loved it. It was funny. It was violent. It was why those things go together, I don't know. And it was like interesting, especially like I did not watch the second season of Loki. The TVA thing, there are moments it loses me. And so like when that kind of kicked in, I was like, and then like half an hour later, I'm like, this is the best thing ever. And like, it was very like, and me and Mark talk about this sometimes, right? It was heartfelt in a way that I think some of the Marvel movies miss. Yeah. Even with all the comedy and the dirty jokes, it still was like, and this really came through. I don't want to get too deep into it, but this really came through in the credits when there was a quote from Ryan Reynolds when he was talking about being Deadpool. And he's like, "This is a role like I've always wanted to do this." Like this is when he was in the bad Wade Wilson, role.
Yeah.
And like you can tell this movie was made by people who don't just like it, who are passionate about this character and what's happening on screen. And that came through in a way that we started to see lost, I feel, in some of the MCU movies. So like I was delighted. And it just everything about it. I was like so yes, I loved it and I thought it was really cool. And we'll get into that, of course.
Yes. Pete Mason, the editor of NewYorkStateMusic.com and the founder of Fan Art with PH. Man, go ahead and plug whatever you want to plug, because I know you got products to sell, and of course, your thoughts on the movie.
Oh, for sure. First, I'll just start out by saying this was a fantastic worth the wait for the one movie we get this year. I loved it. I'm also a teacher, and my students from May through the end of the school year were buzzing about this. I was excited. I wasn't the one to tell them it was rated R, and their parents had to be a part of a decider here. But if they got to see it, great, and we'll talk about it in September. But if your kids are watching, how you doing, kids? Hope you're enjoying the summer. I know I am, especially after that movie, which was that was a hoot. Every bit of it was great. It was more laughs, more heart, everything. And related to fan art, we made one of these shirts this year.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Favorite guys. And we were so close to getting the last one to be in the band too. So it's these are available at fanart.weebly.com or fanart.net. Pick one up. I'll throw in some extras for you, extra stickers and stuff for you. I had a blast at this. I thought it was great all the way through the credit scenes.
Excellent. Right. And Marq Withers, again, we've been trying to get you back for like the longest time. So please, oh please, dish it out, man. I can't wait to get into it with you on this movie.
First of all, it's really good to be back. I gotta admit, it is a little weird being on this side of the fence, being a guest and not being one of the hosts. But I'm already having a bunch of fun anyway, and I'm so ready to chop it up about this movie. I had an absolute blast. I did like a spoiler discussion, not a spoiler discussion. Why am I saying this is the spoiler discussion? I did a quick out of the theater reaction as soon as I got out, and I said in that I loved just about everything about this movie. I had a couple of nitpicks, a couple of questions, which we'll get into, but overall, I thought this was beautifully done. I think that it not only serves the Deadpool franchise, but it also serves as sort of a love letter to the old Fox Marvel universe and gives it a proper send-off with characters we haven't seen in years, actors in those roles that we haven't seen in years, and allows us to sort of say goodbye to those characters in a way that is meaningful and done with such care and such grace and at the same time super entertaining. So for all of those reasons and more, this is probably at least top 2, top 3 of the year for me.
All right. Excellent. And you have a podcast, Collect or Reject, and it got Press Play Media, so go ahead and dish those out, please.
Okay, so plugs out of the way. We'll start with Press Play Media. I basically do a TikTok channel where I do little clips from projects that I've done, like clips from the actual podcast, Collect or Reject. And then also I do these micro reviews, which I call the 10-second take, where I try to encapsulate my feeling about a TV show or a movie inside of 10 seconds. I don't always make it, but most of the time I can make it happen. Which I think is kind of good for that TikTok platform. As far as the podcast, it's a show about indie comic books. And the premise is pretty simple. Every week, I'll choose a guest. The week before we record, we'll read about the first 5 issues of whatever comic we've selected. And based on the artwork, the story, how much the actual dollar value is of that comic will decide whether or not that is actually going to be a collectible. And we try to do that to sort of uplift the indie comic book community. I know there's a lot of people out there that think that comic books are just cape and cowl, it's just Marvel and DC, but there's a whole world of different genres, different comic book companies, a wealth of different types of characters, and I just try to bring that to light. So if you have Spotify, if you have iHeart, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, we're there. It's just called Collect or Reject. Going into season 3 in pre-production right now, coming out this fall.
The links are in the description, everybody. And Joe, why don't we give a shout out to who's in the chat, and of course, give your general thoughts, and we'll do our plugs.
Yes, loaded chat tonight. We have Katie Smoko. We have Shay Smithers.
Let's go.
We have Levin. We have Byron Kingsley. And all of us are in the chat as well, and I'm sure there's tons of lurkers. That being said, if you guys are anywhere near a Regal, I think I hear a crying baby. Hell yeah, right here. Go ahead and pick yourself up one of these. You will not be disappointed. And as for the movie itself, dude, this is my favorite movie of the year so far, and I think it's contender for movie of the year already. Yeah. I mean, it's that damn good, and we're going to dish it out right here.
Yes. And Joe, let's go over some of the shows that we've done already. We got shows coming up, but we'll save that for later. But for starters, if you guys haven't already, Joe, Doc Coyle.
Yes, check out our mid-season finale with Doc Coyle of God Forbid, Bad Wolves, and the X-Men podcast.
And of course, last week, our other spoiler show.
Yes, our spoiler discussion of all things season 4 of The Boys.
Yes, and then tomorrow. And then Joe, tomorrow on Twitch.
Yes, we're going to be doing more Halo 2 possible finale.
And another possible finale Wednesday.
Yes, South Park: The Stick of Truth continues.
Excellent. And Joe, go ahead and plug in social media.
Yes, if you want to get us on Twitter or Instagram, both handles are at nerd_cage. Our link to our Discord is in the description. Become a member there as well. And our Facebook discussion group, that is NerdCage Nation. We love everything you guys put up there. No spoilers, no politics, and for God's sakes, keep it civil.
Yes. And of course, get yourself a NerdCage Live t-shirt. We have, like the one this motherfucker's wear. We have other designs available. Any size, any color, whether if you're a skinny booty call or a fat fuck, big or small, we love them all. We go from small all the way to 5XL. So Pete's not the only one selling awesome t-shirts. We got awesome t-shirts too. More designs on the way. And of course, we also have hoodies, magnets, tote bags. Hell, we even got pillows. We got trucker caps on the way. I just haven't enabled them yet because they just added a TeePublic. Hoodies, tapestries, you name it. Go to their TeePublic. You're gonna love the way you look. I guarantee it. And of course, for the special occasion, the MCU shirt. So, my general thoughts of the movie. I have gripes with it, but I loved it so much. I had so much goddamn fun. It's probably the most fun you'll have at the theater, point blank, period. So we're going to get into it. So, Joe, you're the moderator. I kind of already know where we should start, and that's kind of the beginning. And I just want to kick it off. Let me kick this off, Joe. You know why?
Okay, go for it.
Because I know everybody's going to come at me. I know all 5 of you and all you motherfuckers in the chat are going to come at me when I say this, but it's got to be said. Right off the bat, there's one thing I hated about this movie, and it's right at the beginning of this movie. Okay, Mark, you know, we've discussed, you and I have gushed over Logan, the movie Logan from 2017.
Yes.
It is hands down the best X-Men movie ever made. Possibly one of the best movies of the previous decade. That being said, and they kept saying, prior to this movie, they kept saying, oh, don't worry, we're not going to shit on Logan's legacy, we're not going to crap on this movie. They absolutely did crap on Logan. I'm sorry. I hated the fucking fact that they crapped on the movie Logan right at the beginning of the movie. Like, it bothered me to no end. Wolverine's death now means nothing. Everything that, the way they closed off Logan's story means nothing now. I'm sorry. I'm okay with a multiverse story. They could have left the Logan timeline completely out of this fucking movie. And I know everyone's going to debate me. Oh, we're all about X-23. I got you, okay? But I'm just saying right here, right now, I hated the fact that this movie, in my opinion, crapped on Logan. Come at me, everybody. I had to say it.
All right,
all right.
I don't think they crapped on it. There were bones. I mean,
yes, they certainly did disrespect a treasure, but they did it in such a way that was epic. I mean, the dance number and the fight scene, dude, probably one of the best scenes in the movie, even though it craps on the legacy. But yeah, I think you do have somebody that does agree with you, and that was the director of Logan, who came out and said publicly that he thinks that the multiverse theory is the death of storytelling.
As he gears up to do Star Wars, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he really shouldn't be talking, you know? So.
Yeah. I mean, I get where you're coming from. Like, yeah, they dug him up. I think it would have been like dunking on Logan's legacy if he actually was alive in there. If he was alive, then like it's bringing him back. It's bringing that version of the character back to go through this story. He was dead, so like, yeah, they dug him up, but like, God, it was so funny. I'm glad at least it was a different Wolverine that we travel the movie with.
Right.
I would have agreed if it was the same Logan. I would agree with that take, but yeah.
Also, like, the way that scene was handled was very on brand for Deadpool to begin with. Like, he's an irreverent character, and he doesn't really care about, like, the sanctity of like someone's grave, you know, like he would do, that's something that he would do. So it didn't really throw me off or anything like that. Plus, like Willdband said, this is not the same Logan. We know that Logan's dead. And so it doesn't really change anything as far as that story. You know what I mean? Also, you know, I think that it goes without saying, we all know that when it comes to the MCU, nobody's actually ever dead, ever. So, so I mean, as long as you go in knowing that, then, you know, I don't personally see a problem with it.
It's not like that was the only reference to it. They did do some tasteful references to Logan and, you know, mention the sacrifice over and over again and stuff. So, I mean, they did kind of cover it a little bit.
They did.
Yeah, and like the other two Deadpool movies, this one started out with a huge action sequence, and then you get a little flashback of, hey, oh yeah, well, let's start over here, and then back into the violence to kind of catch you up. And somewhere in there, you found Deadpool's purpose and the reason that he was in this. And you found that in the get-go from the moment that the TVA shows up at his door. And he starts coming in, and he's, you know, he finds out that she's left him because he doesn't try for anything, and he can't really sell cars. Well, he starts moving on, and he has a purpose early on, even after, you know, trying to get in with Happy and the Avengers. And I love the placement of that scene because Jon Favreau directed the first two Iron Man. He really started the MCU from the director's chair. So for him to go to the original director and say, "Hey, can I get in?" and to not get rejected, but not get, "Yeah, we'll be in touch." I thought that was the most fitting thing. And while that's all happening, I'm like looking around the office looking for every little Easter egg. And there's the shield and the arc reactor, and I think it was a Forbes in there with Penny.
Yeah, the kid Iron Man mask.
Yeah. Iron Man mask. Yes, they worked a lot of small stuff in just to be like, well, you're here, but you're not here. But he was also in a different universe, so wasn't going to be the same for him to be there. So.
Mm. And I think that was probably an interesting conversation behind the scenes too. Like they're probably like, well, what props do we have left that we can put in the background?
Was anybody else like mildly disturbed at how like Jon Favreau's face, like it looked like they had used like some kind of de-aging on him or like maybe too much makeup? Like it kind of took me out of it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely noticed, like, he looked a little smooth.
Yeah, exactly. Like some kind of filter.
Yeah, it wasn't too distracting for me. Just like, oh, you look a little younger. Not too young, but you look a little younger.
Yeah.
I didn't really quite pick up on that, but, you know, I wasn't, like, trying to, like, for example, like, I don't know if anybody saw that shitty Indiana Jones movie earlier this year.
I didn't see it.
Well, like that movie, like when they had the de-aging, like I was looking, like I was trying to look for like the, you know, the like the kinks and the glitches of that, you know, de-aging. So going into, you know, the Happy Hogan scene, I wasn't exactly looking for, you know, any flaws. Yeah. So I didn't really pick up on it. But you know, when you watch Indiana Jones. There are moments where like his teeth and his eyes look kind of creepy, kind of crazy.
Yeah, you're forced to look at younger Harrison Ford for 40 minutes.
Yeah. This was like a really brief scene, and like whether if they use anything or not, I didn't pick up on it personally.
And to be fair, it may not have been de-aging. It could have just been because he was like clean shaven in that, right? If I remember correctly. And he's had like a beard for so long. It could have just been as simple as like, well, he had shaved off his beard and they put some makeup on him and they overdid it or whatever. But it just like, I just kept looking at him like, why does he just looks weird in this particular scene.
Yeah.
Also, you know what kind of in the same realm of the same scene, when he's on that, you know, obviously with all his Deadpool's with all his friends at the dinner table. I mean, there was one noticeable person that wasn't there, and that was T.J. Miller.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I'm not gonna lie, one that was kind of an element I kind of missed in this movie was not having him, but I get it. But
yeah,
I could just kind of miss that element of his buddy there, just always riffing on his looks and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, the comedian banter there.
Yeah, but
Wolverine took his place for that one by throwing the comments in. You know,
yeah,
pretty fair.
Whatever.
Agreed.
But yeah, it was, and obviously, his what was it blind
Blind Al.
Blind Al, yeah. I'm glad that at least found room for her in the movie at least.
Yeah.
I would have liked a little more. Again, that's another element I like. I could have used a little more, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Is the one there were said was off.
Yes.
There were a few characters that I thought were like noticeably absent. That may have added to this movie. They may have been too much. I really wanted to see Dopinder. I wanted Cable in this. I wanted, Domino in this. But I get if you put that many people in a movie like this, plus all of these Fox Marvel characters, it may have been too many ingredients for the stew. So I kind of understand, but I did miss them in this.
They definitely probably could replace Shatterstar with Domino, because why was Shatter that was my thing. Even with the trailer, why is Shatterstar there? Why not? Why is that not Domino?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why weren't Domino and Cable in the first and final scenes? All the people that are important in my life. Where I really am curious. Where was Cable? He had his device so he could travel around, and then Cable's just nowhere to be found. I hope that's explained later on because he joined up with,
I guess,
Serpent Society or whoever he partners with.
Yeah.
But you
I'm
could
sure
have
they'll
thrown
come
him
up with
just
some
for a short minute.
timeline thing.
Yeah.
They always do. I think it's probably pretty important for us to go through the Wolverine montage of all the Wolverines that they discovered along the way.
Okay, right off the bat, I think the one that excited me the most wasn't Henry Cavill, but the one that excited me the most was the brown costume Wolverine from the early 80s, Hulk 178. I'm not gonna lie, one of my big letdowns in this movie, they teased the Hulk Wolverine battle, but we didn't get it. They teased it right in front of us, and we didn't get it. But it was so cool seeing that costume, though.
Well, I think they're planning on. I don't know. This is very early stage, but I think they're planning on doing a Hulk versus Wolverine movie somehow.
I don't know. I would be more excited about that if, number one, if it was Ed Norton's Hulk and not Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. I do like that version. I like Mark Ruffalo quite a bit, but I think that they've kind of neutered the Hulk in the MCU so much to a degree that he's not terrifying anymore. And if you pit him against, you pit this version of the Hulk against Wolverine, I don't see very much excitement in it. You'd have to have something that makes him revert into the really brutal, savage Hulk that isn't really thinking, and pit him against Logan. That would be something, but.
Yeah, and I think I'm still in the minority here, but I still like the Eric Bana Hulk, even with the bad CGI and everything. I mean, I think the fact that they made it so that if he gets hit, he grows, that's an element that's sorely missed.
Right.
I mean, they definitely could do a special presentation like Hulk versus Wolverine, make it a 45-minute to an hour-long special like they did with Werewolf by Night. People will eat that up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you would think though, but with the box office, I mean, Wolverine's a household box office name. It would have to be some kind of theatrical release, and I mean, if we're still in this quote unquote multiverse saga, which we'll get more into that later with some of the other Marvel news, I mean, I guess it's not impossible for them to do a Hulk versus Wolverine movie, but with Mark said, it have to be a different Hulk. It has to be.
Right.
I was gonna. There's a scene in one of the later Avenger movies. It's when they're going back in time and they're trying to recreate certain moments. And so the Hulk goes back, but now he's more of the smart Hulk. But there's a scene where he watches himself. And I don't know if you remember this.
Endgame, yeah.
He beats he hits the guy with the car, takes a manhole and throws that on him, and he's just jumping up and down, and the guy's like, I did that. He's got
he's embarrassed.
That me. But that moment is I feel like that's the Hulk you're looking for, right? Where it's just oh, that is terrifying.
Yeah.
So I think, because I love Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, I think it could work, but I definitely, to your point, it would need to be
retcon back.
That, right? Yeah.
And I think Ruffalo's Hulk has evolved. You know, he goes from being angry to kind of combining both of them. And we haven't really seen him too much yet. But what could happen in Captain America Brave New World, we're going to get Red Hulk. I have a hard time not believing that regular Incredible Hulk shows up to lend a hand, and this turns into a little bit of World War Hulk, and maybe we go to Planet Hulk, and that's where Hulk versus Wolverine has a reality. Coming to life in 4 to 5 years or so.
Yeah, I could easily see Mark Ruffalo showing up in like the last act of the movie, taking on Thaddeus Ross with Sam Wilson. Oh, I hope that's good. I can't wait.
And I just have a hunch that Hugh Jackman's not done. I just think
hell no, he's not
done.
Not now.
He's gonna do this till he's 90.
I know that I like they kept throwing that joke in there, and I see Tavia in the chat just pointing out where I was gonna get to it. Age of Apocalypse Wolverine.
Yeah, that one was cool.
Yeah, and I think it's funny. My favorite Wolverine in this is the comic accurate when he gets off the stool. He's only 4 foot tall.
That
was funny.
That was hilarious.
Oh my gosh, that was so good.
I gotta say, little man.
King.
The one criticism that we had at the beginning was finally brought to life, and now I get it. But it was perfect.
I understand the criticism. We all want a 5'6" Wolverine, but that scene, like Pete just said, that just proved like it's not gonna work. It's just. I get it where some people say, well, you need a short man, or this way it can't be a black costume, it needs to be a yellow costume. Like, I get the arguments, but it's just not gonna work. It just Wolverine needs to be. Yeah. I think Hugh Jackman's he's the only man who's done the job. Well, now if you want to throw in Cavill's cameo, I mean, Hugh Jackman's been the only Wolverine we got for basically a quarter century now, and I think he's embodied the character as best as he possibly could. Minus he can't shrink. All right, the man can't shrink, and I'm sorry, Wolverine needs to be intimidated, needs to be big, buff, and all that. So
I'm with you on that. What I liked about that.
I guess the burning question here is with Henry Cavill: is this a tease that Marvel will sign him for future projects or not?
There's been rumbling, like fan castings and rumblings that he could potentially show up in the MCU, whether as Wolverine, Captain Britain, or another random character. He may show up eventually in the MCU as Wolverine. I don't think so. Would I love that? Yes. But I don't think we'll get him as Wolverine.
Yeah.
So I have a fan cast about that. So now that Steven Yeun is out as Sentry, I would love to see Henry Cavill step in to that role. I think he would be absolutely perfect. And not just because he's been Superman and this is sort of like a Superman type character, but I just think like when I look at Sentry as a character, like Henry Cavill just naturally, I feel like embodies him, and it would be a huge win. I feel like, fans of Henry Cavill would naturally flock to see a movie like, a Marvel movie that he was in. And then also, I just think that he would add a lot to the Marvel universe. So
also, I like the little joke they threw in there saying, "Oh, those assholes," referring to DC and Warner Brothers. I see why they treated you bad, or something. What was that?
Right.
There's a quick little quip where they took a shot at Warner Brothers in DC for the way they treated Henry Cavill.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I really liked about that montage was that it addressed the internet, right? Like for forever, like as long as I can remember him being out as Superman, like people have been like, Henry Cavill needs to come back as Wolverine, and I was seeing that everywhere. Like you see the Daniel Radcliffe stuff all the time still, but like for a while there it was like Henry Cavill is Wolverine, and I like that they kind of addressed that, put that in there, and then put that joke, and then also like we talked about the sort of diminutive Wolverine. They addressed all the things that the fans have actually said, all the critiques and all of the sort of like back chatter of social media, you know what I mean? And I just thought that was kind of cool.
I mean, he looked good. He looked good though as Logan. He did.
Yeah.
I like the fact with all the cameos, it was more of a yes, we're listening to you type thing.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And then what was the one where he was on the cross?
Oh, that was. I think that was just a Jesus reference thing.
There's a comic.
No, there's a comic. There's
There's
actually
a
a comic
comic
where
book.
they
That's a cover, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know from what, yeah.
Gotcha.
And of course, we got the eye patch. I also just want to make the point that like it doesn't matter what version of Wolverine. Like Hugh Jackman just did a great job embodying like all those different versions of Wolverine and all the comic.
I know we have some gamers here. Like, did anybody else when they saw the eye patch version think Solid Snake?
Nice.
A little bit. I know. Okay, the one thing I was kind of surprised. Here's what I was surprised. I thought we were gonna get Carl Urban in one of those variants.
Oh, I would have loved it.
Because that was
Pass
rumored. I didn't expect it to be Henry Cavill. I was kind of half expecting Carl Urban to be one of those variants,
I
not
expected
Henry
Radcliffe,
Cavill.
to be honest.
Yeah, I thought
I feel like a lot of
Radcliffe also.
I feel like a lot of people expected the popular fan cast to appear in that montage. I think the most in that order. I think Daniel Radcliffe, people wanted him to be Patch. I think they just wanted Carl Urban to show up somewhere in there.
Yeah. I was low-key hoping for it, but again, seeing Henry Cavill, that like I said, that caught me off guard. That wasn't one I was expecting.
I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
That was my
He's got
reaction.
the size to where you almost think it's Hugh Jackman, and then he turns around, and you're like, oh shit, stop.
All right.
We're gonna treat you so much better than the studio down the street.
Another
That's what they
thing.
say, yeah.
Okay, so here's another gripe, and this is going to be a pretty good transition I have. So ultimately, he goes with the Wolverine the drunk one with the yellow suit. It was the one he ultimately went with. My own another kind of gripe I do have. It's his specific story arc was basically the same as the one in Logan. All the X-Men are dead. He let them die. Well, in Logan, it was really Xavier that killed him, but but still, it's the same arc where all the X-Men are dead and he's the last one left.
I think with that one, it sounds like mutant hunters and humans hunted down the X-Men and he just didn't go to help. Whereas in Logan, it was basically a play on the Logan comic run, whereas like Xavier or I forget the Logan.
There was an
comic
incident.
story.
It was Xavier's, one of his,
He has a
yeah.
But yeah,
almost like a seizure or something, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Logan, it was that. Whereas in this Wolverine's universe, it sounds like just people came after them and he didn't go to help. Whereas I think with the Logan one, either he did try to help or just because of his mutation, he can just keep going.
Yeah.
Right. And there have been other iterations of Logan being like the last X-Men. Like there's the Marvel Wastelander series where it takes place 35 years in the future, where it's revealed that the Shadow King takes control of Logan and kills all the X-Men, and then he comes to and realizes what he's done.
Oh wow!
So I mean, it's a fairly common trope within like the Wolverine lore for him to be the last one standing. So that didn't really throw me off. Yeah.
I thought
Like I
we
said,
would
it
get
wasn't like a
little more
major like the one I talked about earlier, but it was just like
Right.
Well, we're kind of getting like the same one, even though it's a different one. It's like, but but I see why they did it. They kind of like wanted to give him like some kind of like trope to like some kind of arc, like redemption arc. They wanted to give him some kind of redemption arc.
I thought they could have done something more than I went to the bar while everybody died. That was the only in flaws for the film. That, like where was Cable? Like just because they had his pad. Still, I'll come back to that. Where was he? But everybody died while he was at the bar. Like that just seems like a little quick and dismissive. I was really waiting for he got possessed, killed everyone, or he was tricked. Mr. Sinister might have done this at one point. Like that's where I was like, come on, this is gonna happen. And I was waiting for a little bit more of a build up to get like, oh, it turns out that he really screwed up and he really has to redeem himself. The redemption was there for both, but at the end I was like, God, it could have been more than I went out for a pack of smokes and came back and
and the only nitpick I have with that is you got all these human hunters hunting all the rest of the X-Men, and he's able to just go to the bar without anybody trying to come after him.
Nobody knew where it was. Yeah,
Right.
No one tried.
The one place we find him in every movie, the bar, and nobody looked for him there. We should be with the human hunter. We should be with the hunters then.
Yeah. And I think one thing we need to talk about is the Deadpool Wolverine fight in the void.
Yes.
A lot of things
Which
that people
one?
are talking about is that the movements that they do, well, when he's dodging and everything, really kind of mimic the Flash Spider-Man fight scene in the Tobey Maguire.
I'm honestly, I want to say, oh, they really like they studied that. Like that had to be a coincidence. Like, there's no way they studied a 20-year-old movie for a small like portion of a fight scene.
See, I buy it though. Because if you watch those side by side, they're the exact same. It's the exact same choreography, and it's possible that they either had the same fight coordinator that remembered all that, or that they really did take a moment to like really look at it, have their stunt coordinator like really look at it, and be like, we want to pay homage to this movie by actually like mimicking these moves. I actually think that they could have done that.
And not only that, but they've been saying behind the scenes that they want to do well, at least Hugh Jackman has said that he wants to do a project with Tom Holland. So, I mean, they had Spider-Man on the brain.
Secret Wars.
I think, I was going to say, I think Jackman will, if anything, will come back for Secret Wars. Another thing, I'm sorry, I got another problem. This is what's problematic for me for the whole movie. I get it that both Deadpool and Wolverine, they both have insane recoverability. It's part of their mutation. But just because you can recover doesn't mean you can't feel pain. That they're getting stabbed and they're getting impaled, and it's like they're like, and they're going by like it's nothing. Like,
well,
they should still be able to slow down. Like, if you're getting impaled, and I get it, they're both like pain whores and shit, pain sluts. I get that, but I just feel like when you're getting dismembered and stabbed and impaled, like, you're gonna slow down. You're not gonna just keep going like it's nothing. That bothered me throughout the whole movie.
I mean, it's not like they never show like pain towards like each other's like attacks. Like I think Wade is like several times like, ah, damn, you nicked me.
Yeah.
Isn't there a discussion with Wolverine about that in a different movie about his pain, or did I make that up?
Like his pain threshold?
Something about like he's always in pain, like, or did I make that up? I don't know.
So there's a line in the first X-Men movie where Rogue and Wolverine meet for the first time, and they're in his truck, and she asks about his claws, like, do they hurt does it hurt when they come out? And he says every time. So I don't know if that's what you mean.
Maybe
like,
that's what I'm thinking of. Okay. I just kind of interpreted it like in that way. Like they go through so much all the time, right? Right. That it's like, oh,
you get
okay.
numb to it after a while.
Right.
Yeah. I guess.
I just thought it was a little much. That's just me.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know we're gonna get to.
I keep on. I just jump around on the fight scenes between the two of them. I think the best one that was done, it was in the Honda Odyssey.
The green soundtrack in the background.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought what made that one so great was just Logan just going off on him. Like he had like a monologue for. It felt like I mean, granted, it was probably like 30 seconds long, but it felt like 5 minutes where he just kept going on like you're nothing but a loser, and calling him.
You couldn't even make a relationship work with a stripper.
Yeah, like he just went on and on and on.
And I like how Deadpool's reaction was just, "Well, I'm gonna fight you now."
I honestly, I'm wondering how much of that was scripted, how much of that was improvised.
Yeah. It's hard to say if any of this movie, maybe post-strike filming was improvised, but we know pre-strike filming, they couldn't deviate from the script.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, the strike, you're right. Wow.
I would imagine Ryan Reynolds weighed in to throw some things in. Say, hey, what if we just do this? Because the stripper point was like, that's the breaking point. That brings it back to his purpose and the heart of the movie, is that he wants to get Cassandra back. And Cassandra's the bad guy. What's his girlfriend's name?
Vanessa.
Vanessa. He wants to get Then he wants to get Vanessa back, and the moment that he tugs on those strings, Wolverine does. That's it. It's game on. And I thought like all the fighting that took place. Aside from when they team up toward the end and they had third act, it just seemed like the second half of Act 1 and all of Act 2 was just the two of them just fighting and beating the shit out of each other or reluctantly teaming up until they realize in Act 3, oh, we got to get this together when X-23 shows up. But some of this casting, some of these things that they threw in, it really made a top tier fan service.
Right.
This was for the fans by and large. No critic's going to get this unless they're on the comic end of things to catch all these small things, because it works for us clearly, and you know even Jay's got a few notes, so it's it fits. This is great.
Yeah, and even like with the fourth wall breaks and stuff, like stuff that they had to bring to Kevin and everything. Levy and Hugh Jackman and Ryan and everybody even said that there are some lines that they didn't know that he was going to allow, like the one where he goes, "Can we stop with the whole multiverse thing? It's just miss after miss after miss." So,
you don't say.
You're joining a little bit of a low point.
I just want to say this right now. This was probably my favorite multiverse movie. I mean, I liked it more. I liked it more than No Way Home. I liked it more than Across the Spider-Verse. Definitely more than that crappy Doctor Strange movie. Sorry. And then it was better than The Flash. Like this was probably the best multiverse movie we've gotten. And it hasn't been played out. Yes, but I thought this was maybe because I'm biased. Because I love the X-Men so much, and I love the X-Men universe so much. Maybe for me, it was more of a treat. But
I think it worked. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
No. I was going to say I think one of the reasons why it works is because they actually lean into that whole thing of it being tired. Like they made the point of saying that. You know, they made several jokes where Deadpool is really us, right? Like he's like the audience, right? He's like, he'll point out like, oh, aren't you this character from Loki episode 5 season 1? Like you know what I mean? Like it's as if he's able to step out of whatever universe that of course he's been to all these other universes, as we can tell from the beginning of the movie, but he actually knows intimate details about MCU characters, and that's not his universe. Like he knows about the Disney TV universe, the Disney Plus universe.
He's one of us.
Yeah.
I loved it when he was it that part where like he punched the camera and was like, "Fuck you, Fox."
Fox, I'm going to Disneyland.
Yeah. That was funny as fuck.
That was
all right, so Joe, do you think we can, since we're still in the void, you want to go on to Chris Evans and Sabretooth?
Yeah, I think we can start with the, let's start with the villain cameos, like the old Sabretooth and Pyro and all that.
Okay, I got to pitch again, I'm sorry. I was one of those people excited for another Tyler Mane Wolverine Sabretooth fight. I was here for it, and they didn't fight. He just got his head chopped off. I was let down. I wanted a fight. I wanted a fight.
Game of Juggernaut.
Yeah. You know what I thought would have been funny is if they brought the saber, like both of those Sabretooths, and they look at each other and go, "Who are you?"
I mean,
awesome. That would have been kind of cool.
But Mark, it wouldn't surprise me if there was a fight, but due to time restraint, they took it out and just got him beheaded. There could have been a fight. I'm sure they filmed the fight. I
wouldn't be surprised if if we found later on there's deleted scenes that actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think when it releases on Blu-ray, you're gonna have deleted scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Right on.
So yeah, that Chris Evans thing when you think he's Captain America.
Oh yes. I felt for
the red and white wraps on his forearms. I'm like, okay, I guess. This
no. Willdband. The reason why I fell for it, I thought it was Captain. Here's why I thought it was Captain America. 2 reasons. One, in Fantastic Four, Chris Evans had short brown hair. He had blonde hair here. The other thing that threw me, I fell for the bait and I fell for the trick is because in Endgame. We got 2 Captain Americas. Remember when they went back in time?
Right. Oh, yeah, true.
So I thought maybe that was one of the Captain Americas from Endgame that got thrown into the void, is what I thought. Right. That was my initial thought. And then as soon as he said flame on, I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah, but like I said, what threw me off was the hair. because he had the blonde hair. Because Johnny Storm and the Fantastic Four movies didn't have blonde hair like that. So that's why it threw me off.
And the scripting, I think, was great because he's like, oh, he's gonna say it, and then he goes, flame on, and he goes, what? Yeah.
The reason why I kind of figured that it was Johnny Storm was because it sort of came out like when Deadpool 2 came out that they had been trying to get Chris Evans for that. Like they had a gag written for the X-Force, like when they were putting X-Force together. And they're doing the superhero tryouts, that Johnny Storm was going to show up and try out for X-Force. But for what I think it was like a scheduling issue or whatever, Chris Evans couldn't do it. And so so when I saw him, I was like, oh, this is it.
Yeah, since Deadpool 2 and Infinity War came out in 2018, I think Chris Evans is a little too busy.
A little busy. So when I saw him, I was like, oh, they're going to do the Johnny Storm thing, So,
okay.
But I loved it.
Yeah, it was... I personally am a fan of those of the first Fantastic Four movie. I like Rise of Silver Surfer, but definitely not as much as the first one. But
I thought
seeing Chris Evans in the Four suit again, is like, yeah, this is cool.
Right.
Well, also it was cool that they acknowledged every version of the Fox Marvel. So we got our Fantastic Four, we got our Daredevil, we got our X-Men characters. So they did at least acknowledge basically every version of. Well, not the Fantastic Four from 2015, but they pretty much acknowledged every version of Fox.
Well, they have the car in there, but car wasn't in their movie. There's a little something.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was cool. It was cool to see, that version of Johnny Storm again. It was funny, and like Joe said, he was like saying, "Oh, he's gonna say it." But like I said, I fell for it.
Part of me was hoping that when Johnny and them and everybody got captured and stuff, that I would hear in the background, it's clobbering time, and have Michael Chiklis come out.
I would have loved that.
Yeah, I would have loved to seen Michael Chiklis myself, but at least we got somebody.
We at least got a mention of Reed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reed. Yeah. And I think I guess we can go into these super cameos that came out.
Okay, Joe.
Cameos at this point?
Wait. Before we do these major cameos, Joe, let's reveal our 2 August shows real quick.
Okay. All right. Very well.
All right. So real quick, guys. I know we all want to get into the cameos, but Joe. So, Thursday, August 8th, tentatively at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Joe, Hyle Russell.
Yes, Hyle Russell of DK Divine and The Conversation will be on the show.
I'm a diehard fan of this podcast. I'm so excited to finally get this is another one that took me a while to get, but yes, Hyle Russell, if you're a fan of anything Donkey Kong, Nintendo, and Rare, this dude is an expert. He runs DKVine.com, has been around for over 20 some odd years. This is the man behind the website, the man behind the podcast. Yes, The Conversation. Hyle Russell. So be there for that live stream. I cannot wait to get into it because diehard Donkey Kong fan over here, so this will be a really fun discussion. And then Joe, the following week on Thursday, August 15th. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so it'll be my 37th birthday stream, and my birthday is actually August 19th, but I'll be on vacation, so I'm going to do it on the 15th, and I was going to do a watch party of Resident Evil Apocalypse, which is my favorite Anderson film of that, but it's no longer streaming. So instead, I am going to attempt to do a one sitting playthrough of the Leon A scenario of Resident Evil 2 remake, and I'll try to do no deaths, but I'm not restarting
no deaths, Joe.
Over again.
No deaths. One sitting.
So we're good.
All right.
So it'll probably be a 6-hour stream, give or take, but we're gonna sit through. I'm not gonna play. I'm gonna be Joe's cheerleader. So listen, I don't expect everybody to sit through the entire live stream because it's gonna be. But at least drop by, wish Joe a happy birthday, you old fart 37. But yeah, drop by, wish Joe a happy birthday. You know, this is Joe. This is all about Joe, and we're all gonna So there we go, guys. So there's your 2 of your August shows. Sorry I couldn't get more thumbnails done. That's all I could whip up. But there we go. Now back to our regularly scheduled program, cameos.
All right. So I think the first one we'll bring up is I thought it was going to be more impactful, but you know, the other ones kind of put her in the shadow. But Elektra.
Okay, but to be fair, I think they technically officially revealed Elektra was going to be in this movie like over a year ago because her like agency said she was going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, Elektra, cool. We technically knew about you, so cool. You're here. Welcome back.
Although I did like the Ben Affleck dig.
Yeah,
that was funny.
I'm so sorry. Nah, it's okay. Then we have the mother Blade, Wesley Snipes come in. I'm like, oh,
the only ever Blade.
Can I tell you something? So like the theater that I was in, when Wesley Snipes first showed up on screen, the entire theater erupted. Like went bananas, with me included, because I've been saying forever, like, I don't care about, as much as I love Mahershala Ali and I want to see this new Blade eventually come out, give me one more Wesley Snipes Blade. Just give me one more. And at least we get this. If we don't get another Blade movie with him, that's fine, but at least we got this. And it's like as soon as I saw him, I was, yes.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, Joe knows. I went nuts.
There's a bunch of stuff on the internet that, you know, they didn't know if this was going to be able to happen because, you know, when they did Blade Trinity, he stated
they hated each other.
Hated Ryan Reynolds. But he did say publicly that when you get a call from somebody 20 years after and you haven't heard from him in 20 years, you tend to pick up the phone and go, what the hell is going on?
Right.
Yeah. It was kind of.
They made that joke because he's like, "Oh, I thought you didn't like working with me."
And then this just showcases that Wesley Snipes can still do it.
He looked great. I won't put that out. The man's what, in his 60s now? He's like 61.
Yeah,
give or take.
Looked great. Looked great.
Oh,
Wesley Snipes. I mean, granted, I've seen him in other. You know, obviously he did that Coming to America, but I'm just saying that he looked great. He didn't look fat and out of shape. He didn't look. I mean, he's gotten older, but he looked great. He looked just like he did.
Straight out of the last film. Like he looks just how I remembered him. He was fully in character. I was reading up, and part of the reason that the two of them beefed on Trinity was Snipes is a method actor, and Ryan Reynolds is not, and he couldn't get him out of character, and that was pissing him off. So this was really staying true. The dig at each other was fine. And then both of those, Elektra, that one completely passed me by. I don't remember hearing about that. So that was a big surprise. And then the reveal of reveals, my favorite cameo by far, Gambit showing up. Holy shit.
I wish you were over a decade of this man wanting to play this
I think
character.
Jay jumped up in joy, literally. Channing Tatum!
Well, I wanted that movie. We never got, because that movie was going to happen, but then the merger happened.
Yeah. Right.
So I was stoked.
When I saw that one card spin, like I was like, because they just showed that before they showed him, and I just saw that floating card. I was like, oh man, here we go.
I mean, I thought the accent was a little over the top, but that's okay. It's okay.
My favorite joke in that scene was when he's like, "Who's your dialect coach?"
But I was here for it. Granted, the accent was over the top, but he moved and fought like Gambit does.
Yes. Yeah. Like, he had the stupid face, like, shield thing. He had the armor, the full trench coat.
The trench coat, the staff. Yes.
As ridiculous it probably is, like, oh, he's wearing a fully comic book accurate suit. It's like, he's fucking wearing it, man. He looks good.
Yeah. He looked great. It was awesome. One thing I was just like, kind of like, damn, was like, I wish Blade still had his sword, but I'm sure he must have lost it in the void. But I wish he still had that iconic sword.
Mm-hmm. Yep, same.
Yeah, and also another thing that was funny is like there's only one motherfucking Blade, and it's gonna stay that, and it's gonna stay that way.
Isn't his sword at the end of Eternals? And I don't get the context of who they're revealing it to or what, but you know what I'm talking about?
I think Mahershala Ali was the end of the post-credits scene, wasn't he?
They confirmed that was Mahershala Ali's Blade voice cameo.
Yeah, his voice, yeah.
I'm sorry, in my heart of hearts, I know Kevin Feige's... I don't think the movie's happening. I really don't.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. And the thing that's so funny, though, is that we've gotten 4 Blade appearances now, and nothing from Ali yet. I mean, other than his voice. But I'm just saying, like, in the span of 6 years, we got 3 Blade movies. In the span of 6 years in the MCU, Blade's still in pre-production hell. So, like, I don't think the movie's coming, and I'm wondering if that's the reason why they kept that line that Wesley Snipes said in the movie was only be 1 Blade. I wonder if they kept that in there because they don't know for sure.
Last we heard, the script is being worked on, and they're just looking for a director again. I know, again, but just like it's not. They want to give us a good product. They want to give Mahershala Ali a good product, and I respect that. But just like you're telling me, there's been 0 scripts of the past 3 years that have not been shootable.
I think Mahershala Ali signing on to do Jurassic Park was the sign saying fuck this. Because he wants a franchise. Jurassic Park is a franchise. I think he signed on to do Jurassic Park because Blade's not happening. I really think that. I think in my heart of hearts.
Plus his agent, Plus his agent releasing that statement. It was either his agent or his lawyer, released a statement saying like why is this taking so long? Like this is we're starting to. I think they were like sort of planting the seeds for him to get out. I think that. You know what I mean? Like he's waited long enough, and it's like this is a way to set the scene of like
man's waited 5 years to do this movie and nothing.
And he's not getting any younger. You know what I mean? No. Like he's about the same age that I am, and you're starting a franchise at my age. Like you know what I mean?
And the only other thing that could solidify it is if, and they didn't do this, if they would have put him in the void, then it'd be like, oh, he was thrown away.
Oh, right. Give him that at least.
Well, we also got that one line saying, I'm the only Blade, and so that just confirmed that is the same Blade from the 3 movies. He wound up in the void somehow.
I love that they brought that line back with him. Motherfucker's still trying to ice skate uphill.
Yes. Loved it. And that just reinvigorated my excitement. I know I'm with Mark. Give us one more. Give us one more.
So I just have a question. Is there an equivalent of a Logan story in the Blade comic books? Is there an ending to that? That would be a final movie? Because he's getting older, right? He's not going to do 3 or 4 more movies, but one that kind of brings a close to that story. Is there equivalent to that or no?
That I couldn't tell you. Maybe some of these guys know a little bit more about the comics. I know that at one point before the MCU planned to do this Blade movie, that Wesley Snipes was in talk to do sort of like an old man Blade, and that Blade had a daughter in that story, and that she was gonna take over the mantle of being the Daywalker. So I don't know. I mean, obviously that's not happening, but I don't know if that was something that originated in the comics or if that was like an original story arc. Yeah. Maybe somebody in the chat.
We'll probably get him. We might get him for Secret Wars now, but maybe. But I just think that he looked good enough. He looked fit, healthy. He still embodied the role. Find a way. Just find a way to get one more movie. Whatever it's a spin-off. We're in a multiverse saga. Just find a way. But
just find a way. Exactly. I think they can do it too. I agree. It's
just the Mahershala Ali thing. It's just been aggravating for everybody. It's been aggravating for the actors. It's been aggravating for the fans. If you're gonna do it, fucking do it. I'm sorry. I know Kevin Feige's, we want to get this right. We want to get this right. It doesn't take 5-6 years. It doesn't take that fucking long. I'm sorry. I can't.
Right.
I just can't get on board with it anymore. Now that we got Wesley Snipes back for this appearance here, we want that.
Yeah. Now I think we should shift to the actual villains, Cassandra Nova, Paradox, and Elias, which Jay, I don't think he's seen Loki, so I don't think he knew who, that Elias was.
Right.
I thought it was Shadow King, honestly, because I never watched Loki.
King, yeah.
It looked like it.
Yeah. But Cassandra Nova, thoughts, everybody?
Decent. She filled the villain slot. She wasn't terrible, but Cassandra Nova is an Omega level mutant in the comics, so they definitely used her to the least amount they could so that she wouldn't just obliterate everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. I thought she was fine, but my problem is like I wish we got Xavier in there somewhere somehow. It's like how do you do a story of Xavier's twin sibling without Xavier? So I mean I know Hugh Jackman did this.
That was one of my nitpicks too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my nitpicks as well. Like as cool as Cassandra Nova is in the comics, she felt a little bit like a throwaway here. Like it was like they just kind of reduced her to your typical Marvel villain that doesn't have a lot of layers, that just has like one objective to completely like undo the main character, the antagonist or the protagonist. And I think that the character deserves better. You know, like that's a character that you save for an X-Men movie. You know what I mean? And you give that character like real depth and show a backstory and show some interaction with Charles and show how Charles reacts to it. You know what I mean? Like this version, and I get this is kind of a send up of superhero movies anyways, so it's like you could have a version of Cassandra be kind of reductive, but as far as introducing a character like that to an audience that doesn't really know anything about her, most people don't. I didn't appreciate that part of it. Like I felt like they could have gone with another villain. It would have been interchangeable. Do you know what I mean? Like you could have picked somebody that is of lesser caliber and still gotten the same result, if that makes any sense.
That was my thoughts, and I know nothing about her as a character. Like I literally came home and went to Wikipedia. You know what I'm saying? And I would have loved to see her in a different context, like not in a comedic film. Right. I would love to see her in a much more kind of serious context, because obviously, like, there's a lot there to work with. So yeah.
She's definitely more brooding than Paradox. I could say that.
Right. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Also, we got a lot of villains in the background. I mean, obviously we got Juggernaut, the Vinnie Jones version. Deathstrike was Lady Deathstrike was in there, which was cool.
Toad.
Yeah, Toad. Obviously Pyro. I want to say Pyro was in the background. There was a lot of them in there.
Azazel from First Class.
Yeah, Azazel.
Azazel, yeah, that's right. Nightcrawler's father. Yep.
I think the speedster mind reader chick from X3, I think she was in there, or at least that character was supposed to be in there.
Yeah, that was that was actually Psylocke, but not the Psylocke from not the comic accurate Psylocke, but that was Psylocke.
Right.
Yeah.
There's the Russian was the guy with the red and white shirt. I don't look him up. I don't know what he's from, but
Punisher.
he's played by a wrestler.
Right, and I think there's a few others I probably don't know the names of, but I was like, oh, I think I know you.
And it's funny because I think that red and white, I think that's from the Punisher, but they didn't use Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
Oh,
uses bazooka.
Yeah, and they made a quick reference. Like, yeah, Punisher died trying to kill. Yeah, they made that reference.
He's like, well, which one?
He's like, yeah, there's 5 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good.
I really liked the constant, because they were consistent references to like the multiple, like which one. It was always kind of like, there's so many, and this very comedic, but also kind of like, what the fuck y'all been doing for so long? And, like, let's clean this up kind of constant reference. And I really enjoyed that.
And speaking of characters that have several of them, we have to talk about all the Deadpools.
Oh, God.
All right. I didn't care for that scene.
Oh, the where they all came out at him at the same time. That one.
It was.
I mean,
wonderful.
I'm going to get crucified for this, but another thing I gotta say, and it's part of that same scene. I thought the Wolverine mask looked awful.
No, it looked awesome.
It looked awful.
But I can't see him like that with white eyes. That was the oddest thing after all these years.
The CGI was very off-putting.
So it was worth the wait.
For my own research I've done these last 2 days, it sounds like he actually was wearing a physical mask on set, but because they were doing the
they green
expressions-
screened. It's the same with Deadpool. They green screened the eye area. They did the same thing with Wolverine. It just looked. Oh, I'm sorry. It just looked odd. It's just. I would have been okay.
Really
honest to God, I would have been okay with just the regular Wolverine mask with regular eye holes. I would have been okay with that.
Yeah, fair. The only time I really noticed like the animated eyes was their quote unquote last conversation before they go into like the core of the time snatcher, time warper, whatever
Time
it's
Ripper.
called. Time Ripper, thank you.
Yeah. Agreed. The only nitpick I really have is that I love Lady Deadpool and everything, but I wish we would have had a mask reveal.
Yeah, like all the Deadpools that
I know
have like
her.
lines, it's surprised they just like rip it off and then before they fight they just rip it back on.
Yeah.
Blake
Yeah,
Lively
we had
especially,
Blake
everybody
Lively,
went-
Matthew McConaughey, and I forgot. I was listening to another podcast.
There's a few other ones.
Matthew McConaughey was in there?
Yeah, he was the cowboy. The cowboy
Was he
Deadpool
really?
is Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, that's freaking awesome. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know that watching the movie. I saw it in the credits.
Yeah.
It just sucks because those credits rolled fast, dude. I was trying to read all the Deadpools in there, and I was able to catch Blake Lively and Matthew McConaughey. So.
And I think people have found the one thing that the internet does well is they look for the smallest details in trailers and stuff. And somebody saw a variant of Deadpool in the background wearing the time suit from Avengers. And they were like, how does that work? Is he actually an Avenger? Did he go back in time? You know? So
that's cool.
They found that. Plus, Nice Pool, dude. That was pretty
Yeah,
better.
that was
break the fourth wall too.
The dog.
The proposal.
The proposal.
You can't regenerate.
Okay, that's where I'm gonna get at. The regenerate part. That's why I didn't like. First of all, I didn't think the fight scene was that great compared to the other fight scenes, and this is the final act. And two, like they all get taken down like one by one, but then they all got up and recovered at the same time. I was just like, it didn't work for me. I'm sorry.
Dramatic effect,
Yeah.
The way I would have done this, I probably would have done. They didn't need the fight scene. They could have just brought in Peter, and then everyone would be like, "Peter!" I would have been okay with that. Like I don't think the fight
That
scene
would've
was
actually
necessary.
been better.
I think they could have just brought in
hilarious.
Peter, and then they all go nuts. Like Wolverine and Deadpool, like, wait, how are we gonna fight all these people? They all can recover. We're not gonna win this. And all of a sudden, here comes Peter to the rescue. That's how I would have done it. I mean, if I was, a producer on it.
I can
agree with that.
I think more or less the fight scene was to milk the Madonna song, to be perfect.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God, that song's stuck in my head now. Like a Prayer stuck in my head now.
Oh, come on. It was great.
my
Great.
name.
Great.
But yeah, but I'm saying that's like again one of my many gripes.
Right.
And the only thing I didn't really see in this that they do in the comics of Deadpool a lot is when he talks to himself in like the different voices. You know, it's like the low voice Deadpool.
Oh,
like
right.
Conscience. They don't really do that in these Deadpool movies.
That bothered me a little bit in the first one, but I just made my peace with they're not going to do the multiple voices in the head, and it's still Ryan Reynolds doing a shtick as Deadpool, so like I'm still having fun.
Yeah,
Right.
and I have to go back to my gamer side for a second because they did have that Deadpool game on 360.
Oh, I love that game.
And there's a scene in there that people wish they would have done and they didn't do, where he's slapping him in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's because I like to mash the buttons. You know, it's like they wanted that and they didn't put that in there. So that was a little bit of a letdown, but I can let it slide.
Hey, Mark, what were you gonna point out? I know you said.
No, I was gonna say unrelated to that scene, or unless we're gonna have a section where we kind of like go through our nitpicks. I don't know if we are. I'll save it for that if that's what we're doing.
Well, I already said all mine.
I think we're doing that.
Do it now.
I think we're kind of doing that.
So I mentioned earlier that like I had a couple of nitpicks, but like my big one was, I don't know if anybody has watched like Loki or not, but where the hell was Loki throughout this whole thing?
Yeah.
I think does anyone care about spoilers for the end of season 2 of Loki?
Yeah.
Do it.
Go for it.
Okay. So at the end of Loki season 2, basically the whole thing through season 2 is because they decided to kill He Who Remains and not take his place, all the timelines have to converge into this machine that like funnels them, and it's overloading because they stopped pruning timelines. So they attempt to fix it. They fix it temporarily, but because like there's so many timelines funneling into this, it still overloads. So Loki then becomes, I believe, the god of stories and makes like the tree of the multiverse or something and contains all the stories so that all the timelines can live. So he's essentially just staying there holding every timeline together. That's why he wasn't in this movie.
Yeah, I remember that, but like it just seems odd to me that there's no reference to him at all. There's no appearance from him like in this as a sort of god of the god of stories. And additionally there's none of the other, aside from a couple of the B23. B23, aside from B23, there's no other like, where's Ouroboros? You know what I mean? Like,
I wanted to see.
You know what I mean? This would have been a prime like opportunity to get Ke Huy Quan into the MCU proper, like through film. You know what I mean? Like have him be part of this. He would have been perfect for a movie like this. Oh yeah. But we don't see him. We don't see any of the other characters from that. But that was like my number one gripe was like, you have the TVA involved, but there's like zero reference to Loki or Sophie at all. So
Okay,
that's fair.
And I think that brings us to the ending scene where they have to hold hands. That whole scene where I kind of knew that's what they were going to end up doing. I was like, you're not going to kill off either one of these guys.
No. Yeah. I mean, I just gotta admire Hugh Jackman's like workout resume. Like, holy shit! Like,
I was gonna say for the women out there, that was after that scene, the shirtless Wolverine. I'm pretty sure that's what they were going with that. I mean,
well, I'm just saying, like, the man went through an insane.
Basically,
he went through an insane like workout resume though. Like he was like eating like 1,200 calories a day. Like you doing like. He went into like insane shit to get like to work out and whatever.
Oh yeah, he was on Twitter.
I was thinking to myself like at some point you're gonna have to see his full physique because that would have been like a waste of all that hard work and not be able to show it off, Yeah. So
but I really like the fact that there was constant jokes about him being old. And if I remember, there was a joke about him being fat, right? That's why he's wearing these yellow suit. Like there was a quip about that. So at the end, when that like is rips up, like however I can't remember what the setup was, but now there's just like this chest and abs. I was like, oh.
Did anybody see the behind the scenes with Hugh Jackman talking about his trainer and everything and how he was training and stuff? And at one point, she looks back and she looks at his ass and she goes, "Yup, Daddy's back."
Impressive.
Oh my gosh.
That's great. Now to shift gears a little bit, because I know we wanted to at least kind of crowbar this in a little bit. Not to get completely off the Deadpool and Wolverine thing, but we have to kind of mention the new news of RDJ and Avengers Doomsday.
So I was wondering, going into San Diego Comic-Con, okay, are we going to get any news on Avengers 5, a director? Are we doing a recast? Are we doing a shift? What are we doing? So seeing the title Doomsday, like, okay, we're committing to a whole new idea and Kang is gone. All right. I'm like, okay, so who's going to play him? I mean, we know Giancarlo Esposito is going to be in Captain America Brave New World. Like, okay, who's going to play Doom? And then, bam! Robert Downey Jr. is back as a variant of Victor Von Doom. Me personally, I'm like, oh, this is gonna fuck with so many characters' minds. Like, I'm thinking like, okay, they saw Tony die. We're getting a variant, which I'm fairly confident is gonna be coming from Fantastic Four First Steps. He's gonna come from that universe into the MCU and begin the process of Secret Wars. I immediately thought like, oh, Peter is going to be absolutely mind-fucked these next 2 movies.
Yeah. And I want to know, like, what arc are they going to do to bring him in? Because there's some comic stuff that they can retcon into it. There's one where instead of Victor Von Doom rooming with Reed Richards, he rooms with Tony Stark, and they do an experiment and they swap minds. So it could technically be that, or they could do the Marvel team up route and do the fight with Titanus and stuff like, and go that route. I'm not sure exactly which one they're going to pick. There's been rumored that he might be, what was it, God King Doom, I think it was.
Ooh, yeah.
So that could be a thing too. I don't know. They have several routes they could go. So I'm not sure.
I was not thrilled at this news at all. I feel like it's a desperation move from Disney. And before you say, how is this a desperation move for the MCU when we just had this hugely successful Deadpool movie? Well, I'm going to say this. Whatever Deadpool's success is going to be, I don't think it's going to bleed in to the next several Marvel movies. I think this is just like a self-contained movie that the general audience was excited for. I don't think it's going to carry on for the next, Brave New World and whatever Marvel's got next. So I just feel like bringing in Robert Downey Jr. was just like was a money move, and I'm thinking to myself, I just think they should have just casted Victor Von Doom, a different, like Adam Driver, or I think they actually. I'm just throwing names out there.
I think they actually will cast our universe's Victor Von Doom, or at least another universe's Victor Von Doom, since it's not going to be the 616. I won't disagree saying this is definitely like a publicity move to get people back on this side of the MCU. But at the same time, like, me is like, okay, I try to see the positive things, like the story possibilities from both what they could do, they could pull from the comics, as well as what they could do with the movie history that they have. They could churn out something very interesting if done right.
Yeah. And I'm interested to see if Robert Downey Jr. has enough range to go full villain.
I think he could. What sells me as him doing it was his last few minutes in Oppenheimer. That's okay, if he could pull the energy from that character into Doom, we could have something really interesting.
I mean, he's an Academy Award-winning actor. So, I mean, if anybody could pull it off, it's him. I'll be honest, the news, kind of disheartened me at first because, I really wanted to see, a new actor, in that role, somebody that we haven't seen before, maybe, somebody with the same gravitas, but, that hasn't really entered the arena of Marvel. So, I was a little disappointed with that, but at the same time, when I think about it, it's this may be one of those situations, because I've always been, I can admit, I've always been a person that when they make casting decisions, I'm just why'd they cast this person? And then you see it and you're like, oh, I was like that with Ben Affleck. You know what I mean? I was like, why'd they cast him as Batman? And it turns out he's the best Batman, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So I'm taking the position now of let's just be cautiously optimistic and see where they're going with this.
And I still have some questions about what they might do in that film. Tavia mentioned Cillian Murphy. If they do the roommate thing where they do the experiment and swap, he could still be in it. He would just be Tony Stark instead.
Right.
The other thing that could happen, will we have a Julian McMahon cameo? Because he was the original Doctor Doom in the original Fantastic Four films.
True.
And the other thing is, will they have a post-credit scene showcasing the coming of Galactus?
Well, that's
Galactus is going to be in Fantastic Four.
Right.
We're getting Fantastic Four next year, and then we're getting Doomsday in 2026 and Secret Wars in 2027. My thing is, besides the fact I don't like this casting, the Thanos was built up over several phases of the MCU, from Iron Man all the way up to, really Avengers all the way up to Avengers Endgame. That Thanos was built up. It was an overarching story. They don't have an overarching story with Doctor Doom. They've been doing this multiverse saga since No Way Home, and then they had these other off movies, like Shang-Chi and Black Widow, and none of these movies had an overarching. And same with Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm just how's this gonna work? They're just shoehorning in Doomsday basically at the last minute, and I just feel like it's just like I feel like it's a desperation move, because not only that they want to get Robert Downey Jr., but they haven't had an overarching story at all since post Endgame.
It does feel like a weird pivot, right?
Yeah.
It does feel like like we lost Jonathan Majors. What are we gonna do? Like, when really they should just recast this dude. You know what I mean? And
it was gonna be Kang Dynasty. They completely scrapped Kang Dynasty and threw in Doomsday, and it's coming out in like less than 2 years. Like, it just.
And it doesn't give a lot of time for Robert Downey Jr. to be established, because you're gonna have whatever percent of Fantastic Four he's gonna be in. You're gonna have other villains and other people in there, and Silver Surfer and Galactus. So you're throwing a whole lot in the first Fantastic Four film in this MCU, and then presumably if the universe ends and they have to find their way into our universe, or the 116, whichever one Deadpool's in, he's gonna have to shift to another universe, and maybe Doom ends up being a bad guy, and instead of being buddy, and you see a big shift, and then somehow, somewhere in Doomsday, you get a segue into Secret Wars. Or maybe Doomsday bleeds into Secret Wars, and it takes a while to get it established. I think you're right. I think it's a little rushed. I think it's a little too much. And they could have done Kang Dynasty, then Secret Wars, then Doomsday, and worked things around instead of rushing it just because Bob Iger's like, only 2 a year.
Totally.
I don't know if anybody else had the same feeling or not, but when they mentioned anchor beings and stuff in this film, that kind of made me think: are they putting that on a shelf to where they can use that later on if they want to destroy the whole multiverse theory and bring it back to self-contained movies with their own characters? They could just say, well, we're going with the anchor being thing and we're going to do self-contained movies going forward. They could always go back to that. This is like a window into that.
I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, that might be the way that they close off this whole multiverse thing, because I do think it has kind of gone on a little long. Like, what they probably should have done it should have happened like after No Way Home. Like, they should have found a way, like, hey, seal all these universes off. We can't access them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
what if Secret Wars wraps that up tightly? What if they get three films, 3 being Fantastic Four and the 2 Avengers? You get through that, and it's like, all right, guys, it's good to see you. See you in your own universe. And then there's the XMen, there's the Fantastic Four, and the one we know, the 616, and all the movies will just be like, we can know that X-Men's in its own universe now.
That would be great. But think about how long it's going to take to get there. Because, like, we have, not only do we have the cinematic, like the actual, like the theatrical runs of these movies, but then we also have Disney Plus shows, and they're almost certainly going to pepper like little threads from this saga in those. So we're going to have, you know what I mean? And it's going to be most likely done in such a way that you have to watch this, Coven of Chaos in order to understand what happens in Thunderbolts. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be like a whole thing. And I think it's probably going to get to the point where it's even more tiresome than it is right now. I feel like it's already at a point where it's kind of like done to death. And it's not completely Marvel's fault either, because like DC leaned into it. Like, there pretty much like any fiction right now, like any science fiction or comic book related stuff, they're doing like multiple universes and alternate universes, and it's like it's a trope that's like it's been overdone for like a while now. And I feel like if we keep up with this, people are going to really lose interest.
And I've said before, there's only really 2 ways that you close this off. You either have to go big or go home, or you have to do the anchor being thing and close it off. And to go big or go home would require Disney and Warner Brothers to work together so we could get a Marvel versus DC universe.
Well, apparently Kevin Feige said it's not impossible for something like that to happen. He's not
they got James Gunn over there
it's
now.
not impossible.
Yeah.
My like Mark just you stole every thought out of my mind. Like Shay said something early in the comments about the multiverse. I'm over it, obviously. Like like to a certain point it loses me, but like the usefulness of it to me is ability is something that also was like alluded early in conversation to tell stories that won't fit into a major linear arc or storyline, right? Like. And I mean, there's millions of them, right? In comic books, whether it's Wolverine versus Hulk, whether, like these stories that could be told in like this very secluded, they're a one-off thing, but fans want to see it. And this is a universe here. And so it's not going to play with our bottom line or our linear story with, and like, to me, that's the usefulness of it rather than it being the main story. Cause like, that's why I didn't watch Loki 2. I've heard it's really good. I'll probably watch it sometime, but like you start to lose me. Probably because like it deals with numbers, and I'm terrible at math. So like you lose me, right? I'm just like, where are we again? And yeah.
And I think the last thing there is to talk about is the tribute mid-credit scene for all the Fox properties.
That was nice.
That was dope.
So that's one. We'll cover that now.
That was dope, yeah.
And I think that was emotional, really. I mean, to see all that refleshed out and everything, and
Yeah, and I said it in our rapid review. And Mark said the same thing as well. Like, this is a love letter to the Marvel Fox universe, and like now, and I made a mistake in my rapid review. I said that Dark Phoenix. I really meant to say the New Mutants. Like the New Mutants. Again, I feel like there was a good movie there, but they fucked it up.
Yes.
But it's just like you couldn't end the Fox Marvel with the New Mutants. Like, to me, Logan was the definitive end, but we also got Dark Phoenix, and then we got the New Mutants. So I feel like this movie absolutely makes up for New Mutants and Dark Phoenix. Like, this is the way it had to go out. Like, the Fox Marvel had to go out like this. Not like...
I agree.
Not on a whimper, an embarrassing whimper like Dark Phoenix. Well, there's some stuff I did like about Dark Phoenix, but New Mutants, there's no redeeming quality there. Like I know that movie was a victim of the buyout and this and that and all the postponements, but I feel like there was a good movie there and they effed it up. So that being said, like that was the last Marvel Fox movie. Now I can say no. This is the last Fox Marvel movie. So this puts everything in a nice little bow.
Yeah,
and Jay,
I agree with that. 100%.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, can I just add to that because the reason I didn't like New Mutants is the same reason I didn't like the Doctor Strange movie. Like Marvel overall does comedy amazingly well. This movie showed it, right? And they have moments that are amazingly emotional. They can do that too. When they've tried to do something that leaned anywhere near horror, they are terrible. And New Mutants should have been a horror film, and it would have been amazing. And Doctor Strange should have been a horror film, and it would have been amazing. And like that's just an area where they just are useless.
I'll just say this: the best version of New Mutants right now. Watch Gen V, the boys spin-off show.
Oh,
that's
Gen V's
the
fantastic.
best.
Gen V's awesome.
I'm telling you, that's the closest thing that we're gonna have to what New Mutants was supposed to be.
It's unfortunate in both the case of both Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and New Mutants, especially with New Mutants originally being marketed as more of a horror movie.
Yep.
And then due to all like I think that was like it was being made right before the deal happened, and then the deal happened, and it was being shelved, and then being reworked, and then reshot. And then with Multiverse of Madness, originally announced like, oh, this is gonna be Marvel's first horror movie. Then Scott Derrickson left the project, and then Sam Raimi comes in, so it may not be a horror movie anymore, but because of his background, he can at least bring horror elements into the movie. But those horror elements should have been more present in the movie. I don't know. It's unfortunate. Like it all comes down for both movie cases. It all comes down to studio meddling.
Yep.
You are 100% correct on that.
So it was cool seeing all the. It was a cool little. I mean, as much as I hate Green Day, sorry people, but it was a nice. it was the right song, and it was a nice little tribute video of all the behind the scenes bloopers and some certain seasons. It was good. It was wrapped very nicely, and then Joe, we get that hilarious.
The post-credit scene.
Oh
yes.
God, that was funny as hell.
It was a throwaway, but it was an awesome throw.
It was funny as hell. I'm sorry. I think what made it funny, it was just seeing that side of Chris Evans is what made it funny.
Yeah.
That's what made it
And
funny
it
to me.
wraps it up
Just-
right at the end. Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I know it doesn't have any like story impact moving forward, but it was funny as hell. It was definitely worth the wait. It was worth the wait. I mean, we got that nice little Green Day video, but it was worth the wait to see that at the end. I laughed really hard.
So yeah.
All right, so I guess 'cause I gotta get ready for work here. So I guess we can go around in the circle, plug whatever we want to plug, and then give your rating 1 through 10. So again, thank you to everybody who came in. Thank you to everybody in the chat, everybody who hung out with us tonight. This was awesome. I was chomping at the bit. This was honestly, Mark, I felt like we never missed a beat. It's like it's like you never left. But before we go any further, though, I'm putting you on the spot, Mark. I know you're a busy man, but goddamn, we want to have you back again. I mean, we could obviously we got the Joker spoiler discussion coming up in a couple months or whatever. But Marq Withers, I'm putting you on the spot. We'd love to have you back on NerdCage Live again, and if you can find the time, Mark, we'd love to have you back. If you're willing to come back, dude.
Well, hey man, this is home. So if I have the time to do it, or not if, but when I have the time to do it, and we have spoiler discussions like this was a lot of fun, man, and I missed all of you guys. This was like a really good family reunion. You know what I mean? Like a short one, but a good one. And I really appreciated, spending time with you guys and talking about this movie, which I absolutely love. So Jay, whenever time allows, man, I'm here.
Yeah, I want you to know, it hurt when you left, but we weren't mad, but it hurt a little bit. It hurt a little bit, just a little bit, but I'm just glad that we were, we're still friends, and we're, and we tried to get you back on several occasions. For whatever reason, we weren't able to, but I'm so glad. If it had to be any, I'm glad it was this one, and I really, really hope we can have you back again and again and again, because you helped us build this foundation, man. I made all these new friends because of you. You built this foundation. There is no NerdCage Live without you. You set me on the path to Joe Blow. You set us up for success, Mark. Thank you so much, and which is why we definitely want you back again and again.
Well, thanks, man, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, we'll go around the circle. So, Willdband, go ahead, plug whatever you want to plug. Give your closing thoughts and the rating 1 through 10.
All right, like I said earlier, you can find me on my channel, Willdband, here on YouTube. We are inching our way to 1,000 subscribers. We're currently sitting at 978 as of today. So if you can help me get towards that goal, I'd really appreciate y'all. Right now, we are currently reacting to Spectacular Spider-Man with Brian on my channel on Fridays. We have the podcast out, Petty Cash Podcast, on all your podcast platforms. 2 seasons worth of episodes to get your ear holes listening to. I have a Twitch. I don't use it. You can find me on Twitter, Willdband. You can find me on Instagram, Willdband. And you can find me on TikTok, Willdband24, where I do some mini reviews every once in a while and I do some fun little skits every once in a while. So yeah, I'm so prevalent on the channel. I'm so prevalent here on NerdCage Live, and I'm so prevalent on the internet.
Absolutely. And 1 through 10, what would you give this movie?
I think I will give this movie a solid 8 out of 10. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I was laughing a majority of this film. The cameos were really I just loved all the cameos, the small roles, and the surprises that Ryan Reynolds and company gave to us in this movie. It was a loving tribute to the Fox universe of Marvel movies that we all got growing up. So I will definitely be owning this once it comes out on 4K later this year. And will I see it again when it's in the theaters? Probably.
Excellent. All right. Dion McGill of Off the Beaten Podcast, man. Go ahead. Plug whatever you want to plug. And, of course, your 1 through 10.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for having me. Always great. Anybody, if you're a podcast listener, check out Off the Beaten Podcast. Check out my back catalog. There's going to be new content coming. I'm excited. You can also catch me on social media. You can catch me at Dion's Musica. You can check out my political profiles. McGill for 7th. Pretty much I think across the board. And yeah, I'm blogging a little bit more. So, you can find all that. This is great discussion, great learning from you guys all the time, great even everyone in the chat, just hearing about different stuff, learning new stuff. I literally have a stack of comic books sitting right next to me that I haven't read. But it's great to get more, because I'm like, one day, a day is gonna come, I'm gonna read all this and get back into it. I haven't read Somebody's Killing the Children in forever, right? So, and that's one I love. But thank you guys so much. As for this film, I loved it. I thought it was great. It was so much. I'm like, I need to go and see it again, because it was just like, it was too much to take, like kind of like in a way. And I'm like, I remember, and you guys, but like when the Henry Cavill scene, it like took me a minute to like, I was like, wait, I know that guy. I know that he was like, it's cavalry. And I was like, ugh. It was just a lot. It was great. I loved it. And I love films like that. And this was by far the best MCU film I've seen in a while. There's one or two that I've not seen, that I've missed. And this one was great. I know I like the Eternals. A lot of people didn't, right? I'm weird in that way. And I just love this one though. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 as well. And I think if I saw it again, that might even go up one. It was a really great film. And going back, and I think a lot of the stuff we talked about tonight goes back to this idea that obviously people who really love this story and these characters made this film, right? And like, you could just tell at all levels. And I've said this before, I would say it again. I hope someone someday hears me, but like, you 5 gentlemen, that's what, $500,000, right? Work for it, don't be expensive, be cheap, you know what I'm saying? But for $500,000, the MCU could have an amazing writing team who could go on writing for the next 10, 20 years, right? Amazing stories, because you guys are passionate and you actually love this product, right? And that's, MCU is MCU, okay, but that's what we need, not only in these types of films, that's across the board. But I will always advocate for cats like you all to be in positions to do those things, to be in rooms where those conversations are had. And I'm just glad that I get to come and hang out with you guys and learn. And I always learn, and I appreciate it. And thank you guys. This is the best fun I've had in a minute. And thank you, Dion. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Pete Mason, NewYorkStateMusic.com, editor and fan art. Go ahead, plug whatever you want to plug. And of course, you're 1 through 10.
First of all, if you're from anywhere around New York, or you're in New York, or you just love music, follow New York State Music, NYSmusic.com, at NY State Music on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. Always got some good content coming up there. And the website, of course, NYSmusic.com. Great news from every little part of New York State, whether you're from here or not. Discover some new music. Try something out of the box. Do something a little different. And also go to fanart.net. fanart.weebly.com. Get this Deadpool in the band, the X-Force together. Got Spider-Man on the keys, Deadpool's Big Red, Colossus on bass, and Wolverine on the end at an appropriate height. And as for a rating, I got to give it a 9.1. I loved it. I laughed. I had the best time. It lived up to all expectations and then blew it away. I forgot that Electro was even announced. Like, that was like the greatest. Like, I took until afterwards. It was like, oh, we knew about that. I'm like, well, good. Glad one missed us. This was great, and it's gonna have good long-term implications for all of the Marvel films and the MCU.
And just so to know, everybody, all the links to these gentlemen's stuff is in the description of the video. And of course, last but certainly not least, Marq Withers. Go ahead, man. Give your final thoughts, 1 through 10, and plug whatever you want to plug in. Again, the link to all of it, his stuff's in the description as well. Go ahead, Marq.
Okay, so let's get the plugs out of the way. Again, links in the description. Collect or Reject podcast. We got 2 seasons right now, going into the 3rd one. That'll be out this fall. This season, we're going to focus on movies that you didn't know started as comic books. So think A History of Violence, Red, Road to Perdition, Conan the Barbarian. Like a lot of stuff that people love, a lot of movies that people love that they don't know actually started out as a pulp, a graphic novel, a comic, or something of that nature. Just to really bring attention to the fact that this is not just a medium for superheroes. It's so much more than that. Everybody here on this panel should expect to get a call from me to be a guest on this at some point. I know Dion's been on, Willdband's been on, but I'd love to have each of you on to read a comic book with me and review it. That said, again, 2 seasons already down, 24 episodes. You can find it here on YouTube and also on your favorite streaming platform. Also check me out, pressplaydude@gmail.com, doing the 10-second takes, also on Facebook Reels. Again, links in the description. I think that's all the plugs. Now let's get to the rating. So
yes.
I'm going to give this a solid 8 out of 10. Again, this movie gave me everything that I asked for and gave me a few surprises. A few really good pops. I loved Wesley Snipes' appearance as Blade, some of the other cameos. I just loved the overall story here. I loved the fight scenes, all the action, everything involved with this. And I think that, again, this was a beautiful, very smart, very entertaining tribute to the former Marvel universe, and ties it up beautifully and brings it in, brings certain characters from it, important characters, into the MCU in a way that makes sense and doesn't feel forced. So I appreciated that. So again, 8 out of 10 for me.
Excellent. All right, Joe, go ahead, give your rating, and then we'll plug off our shows real quick. So go ahead.
Right. So this movie, like I said, is my favorite of the year. I haven't felt this good about a Marvel film since Endgame, so that's a lot being said there. And I loved everything about this. I loved the cameos. It was a perfect send-off for the Foxverse, and I'm still giving this a 10 out of 10. I'm definitely gonna see it again in 40X on Saturday. And if you have a Regal around you, go ahead and pick one of these up. You won't be disappointed. You can put your drinks in there, you can put your popcorn in there, or you can just carry around baby Deadpool. Why not?
All right, Joe, let's roll through these real quick. If you haven't already, Doc Coyle.
Yes, check out our mid-season finale with Doc Coyle of God Forbid, and the XMen podcast, and the band Bad Wolves.
And, of course, The Boys.
Yes, our season 4 spoiler discussion of The Boys, now up on podcast, right?
It's going to tomorrow.
It's going up tomorrow, yes.
And then tomorrow on Twitch.
Yes, more Halo 2 possible finale.
Wednesday on Twitch.
And another possible finale of South Park: The Stick of Truth.
The new
Next Thursday, August 8th, DK Vine.
Yes, Kyle Russell of DK Vine and The Conversation.
And the following Thursday, All About You.
Yes, my 37th birthday stream, where I will be doing a single run playthrough of Leon A scenario of Resident Evil 2 Remake.
And go ahead and plug in social media.
If you want to get us on Twitter or Instagram, both handles are @nerd_cage. Our link to our Discord is in the description. Become a member there as well. And our Facebook discussion group, that is NerdCage Nation. We love everything you guys put up there. No spoilers, no politics, and for God's sakes, keep it civil.
And of course, while you're checking us out on social media, be sure to pick up a NerdCage Live t-shirt like the one I got here. We have, and for you Deadpool fans, we have this one. We have plenty of Mortal Kombat designs. And of course, our PlayStation shirt. We got Nintendo 64. We got Dreamcast. And of course, Joe's favorite game of all time, Zelda. And Resident Evil. So yes, go to our TeePublic. The link is in the description of every video and across all social media. We go from small all the way to 5XL. So whether you're skinny, booty call, or fat fuck, big or small, we love them all. Get yourself a NerdCage Live t-shirt. You're going to love the way you look. I guarantee it. Again, if you saw my rapid review, I haven't moved. I'm giving this 7 out of 10. For every, gripe or cringe moment I had, come on, there was a moment that got me jumping out of my seat for the excitement. I laughed pretty hard. So therefore, 7 out of 10. I will say it's the most fun I've had in the theater all year round. Is it the best X-Men movie? No. Is it the best Deadpool movie? Maybe. But it's certainly a really, really fun time. And I will agree with Joe. It's definitely the best MCU movie since Endgame. But I really don't it doesn't feel like an MCU movie to me. It feels like more of a tribute and ties everything in the bow nicely when it comes to the Marvel Fox universe. But again, it's a great movie, and I definitely recommend anyone to go see it, obviously pending they're old enough to go see it. But yes, please sub all of these gentlemen up and follow them on all their social media platforms, and check out their podcast, check out their YouTube channels. The links in the description of every video. Not only that they are fantastic content makers, they're also awesome friends, and I'm the luckiest nerd in the planet to get to chop it up with these guys and have them on my goddamn show. So anyway, thank you everybody. We previews ask you to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and spread that shit like the void. So the USA from yours truly, Syracuse, New York, Albany, New York, Chicago, Illinois, Louisville, Kentucky, to all of our friends around the world, and Phoenix, Arizona, to all of our friends around the world at NerdCage Live, Willdband, NewYorkStateMusic.com, Off the Beaten Podcast, and Collect or Reject. As always, enjoy life, stay safe, eat your vegetables, do your push-ups, go to the gym, all that good stuff. Good night, God bless, and have the best day of your life.
Bye.
And stick around for awesome Twitch promo, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow on Twitch. Good night.
NerdCage Live and gaming are a perfect match.
Shoot the J, Joe. Okay. Shoot it!
All right.
Over on NerdCage Live on Twitch, Jay and Joe go live.
Call me Bazooka Joe.
It's all about you.
Kaboom! Playing both old school and new school games every Tuesday night. Ooh, what a sight!
Jay, stop looking at her face and run.
But she's so beautiful.
So be sure to follow NerdCage Live on Twitch.
Run for your life, Joe. Run for your life, Joe.
Running.
Run faster. Oh no, Joe. The galaxy's doomed because of you.
To scratch your gaming itch.
Oh, nice kick, Joe.
Thank you.
Yo, that's diabolical. Wait. Yo!
That's twitch.tv/NerdCage Live.
Ooh, trying to get out of the nerd cage, are ya? Well, before you go, hit that subscribe button. And if you're really intrigued, ring that bell. Thank you for dropping by. Until next time, tell everyone you know about NerdCage Live! Ah!